저는 국제PEN한국본부 이사장 손해일입니다. 영문 성명서를 낭독하겠습니다. Actions of Writers for the End of War Declaration and the Conclusion of a Peace Treaty in the Korean Peninsula. For writers, the first homeland is language. All people are born with, learn through, and grew up in their mother tongue. People live through all the phases of life in their mother tongue community. Thus, mother tongue surely is writer's homeland. Korean people and our mother tongue community were imprisoned for 36 years by Japanese imperialism. But we have dauntlessly kept writing in our mother tongue. Japanese imperialism, political, creative activities, and even some writers ended up giving up on their writing. The tragedy did not stop here. Our people have lived in a society where mother tongue community had been divided for 75 years since 1945. Furthermore, a war that broke out from the inside of the mother tongue community is still going on up to the present day. The Korean War, which is also called the War of June 25, was eternally a war of the front line, but internally. It rather was a war of village and huts, a war that took place in villages that speak the same language was far beyond the tragedy. It was hell. People who knew each other living and growing up together and greeted every day in their mother languages had to hold weapons and smash each other. How could we describe this other than hell? But soon after entering a state of armistice, the internal tragedy solidified as division system. The division system exists not only along the borderline, but also within everyone's heart that had to go through the war of village. This is why the division system could have been parasitic on people's mind, remaining as hatred, disgust, threat, and violence. Over 70 years after the war, our writers have been calling two governments and political systems that now divisionally rule the mother tongue community to endeavor to end the war and establish a regional peace cooperation community. Now that we have a ceasefire, but not the end of war, the threat of war penetrates deep into our everyday life. Some political power and their actions to maintain power by threatening the lives of the majority people based on the menace of war have caused unnecessary military tensions. Our people can no longer suffer from the fear of war. The menace of war has always been political rather than military matters. Anti-war and anti-nuclear is a long-time slogan of Korean writers. We cannot give up on this because the nuclearizations of the Korean Peninsula and the end of war are matter of our external fate of the mother tongue community. South and North Korea might not be the frightful agents in the armistice agreement, but we certainly are two rightful bodies in actual terms. The actors for the matter of ending the war are the UN, DPRK, and China. But we cannot just entrust our fate of them. It is the most urgent that South and North Korea declare the end of war and conclude the peace treaty in order to secure our own piece of the mother tongue community. We writers believe that it is the time to end these disastrous circumstances. The war on the Korean Peninsula should come to an end permanently and shift from the decimal division system to rifle peace system. Peace in the Korean Peninsula will lead to peace of Northeast Asia, which shall eventually have a positive influence upon the world peace. The first step, we believe, is the end of war declaration in the Korean Peninsula. We oppose all kinds of war on the earth. War is vicious and peace may be vulnerable. However, the vulnerable peace saves lives. We therefore send our ardent wishes that the UN and the international community would pull together for the end of war declaration so that we can escape from this flashpoint of conflicts and head toward a new peaceful era. We will be in solidarity with the writers in other nations for the end of war declaration. We, with all other conscience in the world, will struggle together for eternal peace of this land. We will also be together not only with all writers, but also with all culture artists of the world, as well as our mother tongue community. 1. South and North Korea, as well as the USA and the UN, must declare the end of Korean War. 2. Conversation and measures for denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula must be put into action immediately. South and North Korea must conclude a peace treaty and practically complete the termination of the Korean War. 4. World peace is vulnerable. Let us firmly protest our vulnerable peace. October 2020. PEN International Korean Center, President Son Hae-il. The Korean Writers Association, President Lee Kwang-bok. Korea Novelist Association, Chairman Kim Ho-un. The Korea Poet Association, Chairman Na Tae-ju. Writers Association of Korea, Chairman Lee Sang-guk. June 15, Korean Writers Society, Executive Chairman of South Society, 정도상. 이상입니다.
박수 한번 치시죠.